So there was many groups of people that came to the United States, um, and I wanted to go through some of them. The glyph, I guess it's like a uh, monolithic sites. They have these like glyphs, right? And there was something that they refer to as Olmec, which Olmec is a category of a made-up word to cover a lot of civilizations, or if you want to say society. They were like cultures, civilizations. Uh, there were thousands and thousands of years that predate what we understand, but they left uh, glyphs, and like the glyphs we understand, like it's not a far stretch that they had a conveyance all the way across time to, so that when people see a foot like to the side of the Turkmen, that they're saying that he was a traveler because there was a footprint on off to the side. They could read that shit, but like anyway, they were saying he is from Turkey. Forget the airplane. And then I was just thinking, because Turkey kind of later, they probably it was probably a Ottoman Turkmen, or like a Mongolian. Mongolian, you wouldn't have been able to tell the difference from Turkey at some point, believe it or not. And like, so like, I can't talk about this stuff with people because they would think like, well, then why, how come if the Mexicans are related to Romans that they speak Spanish? It's like, like that language before, when they came over here, was not what we think it sounds like today. And like even English had periods of time when it was influenced by different groups, not just the Germanic, not just like, I can't remember what they're calling some of the other time periods where different cultures were influenced English. It's always been an incomplete language, right? It's like that you can complete when you find a word for something. Like they have different types of languages that are like sarcastic languages, or like pictographic languages and stuff. Like they're okay. But anyway, it's like the way you talk, you're painting a picture, and like they use single syllables. So when they learn English, they like become good in spelling bees because they can break words down into syllables. They understand like the interchanges, like of, But anyway, there was Chinese junks. Junks are the ships that they sailed. There was Nagas. There was Melanistic tribes all over. There was Phoenician and Scandinavian, and Roman, and Mongolians already over here. They probably left people here. They probably, all that, right? And then at some point in time, right, they were a very not like a nation basically, and like the Soviet Union, right? And then there was a lot more Choctaw land than we know about. It went all the way up to New England. From like, we just think of like the area of like Missouri and like part of Louisiana, Arkansas, but it goes all there. They even had Choctaws that wore turbans. Like I've seen pictures of Choctaws that were wearing a turban. We just only know like fractions of not just the United States, but the American continent's history. We just really just know like tiny fraction. They had trade, barter with the whole world, coming from the continent that, when it split apart, became weak. It was on its way to reunifying, and then, you know, West Eastern, influence came, right? But could you imagine, like, that's why it's like such residual, like, of like, or like, where we have this like we can have a mythology that blended because it's already subconscious. So it's just like, I'm not saying like, because a bad effect when a religion gets exported and then repurposed and then reintroduced, it's absolutely terrible. I don't even know how you want to describe it, but so the racing for Camelot is the purpose of those clandestine elements, like MI5 and freaking Aleister Crowley and shit. It's a great American experiment, and they think that this could be another autocratic caste system like in India. And with the introduction of a slave trade, they would like go about to try to build it. So that's why they exported Islam from South Africa to Asia Minor, gave it to the Ottoman Turks, taught them that Islam, they are an astral plane religion, which is all about the moon and lunar cycles and everything. It's like, before that is botany, phasing. Plants are phasing to the moon cycles. They stratify when you move them so that they would come back into phasing with the cycles of the moon, because plants are recording this, right? Then that's where you develop like a knowledge of like medicine, food, like textile, like you're making all this, everything from plants. You have to know that shit to be autonomous. So it's like, before you have the liberal arts and the Kabbalistic tree, and it's about self-reliance and autonomy that they couldn't teach. Like, they had to have a way to as a guide, when you go to the mall, there's a directory and you look and it shows you where everything is. It's like, that's basically the same thing, which is why you can't say that we've translated Medu Neter, because we don't know that it's like possibly a kiosk or something, or we think that the pyramids were tombs, or like we have to be able to say these things. They roll off the tongue easy, like, leave me alone, man. Why are you disturbing my whole, like, you don't even know that it wouldn't like overkill you to think about it in some other ways then. Because you ever wonder why the pyramids aren't perfectly symmetrical? Like, they're purposefully not symmetrical. And they found these propellers that were not for like water for craft or for flying, that they were for directing frequency currents off of these buildings, and then connecting them somewhere. Like, they were made out of porcelain so that they would resonate like crystalline, they would resonate that. And the archaeologist that discovered them thought they were broken, and he started fixing them. So like, they're like, he's like, goes down in history as a shambles, because couldn't learn anymore from what they were. I mean, they're saying this is not me making up nothing. Like, this is all just, sometimes I don't have the reference and because of like, but I know like when they're talking about these people, they couldn't like, it would be impossible for them to be lying about that unless they made the movie Hostel to be like, represent like something that's true, like really happening or something. Hostel 3 or something. I want to make this like who done it and who stole the gold and everything like that, because I don't believe that just because people were living like like in proximity or in the same time period, that they're living in peace. We just always assumed that people were living in peace because there was like black and brown stuff in that, like because they didn't have like the invader, but they were already broken up. Like the Soviet Union was broken up. Like maybe it was from an immigration crisis. Think about like Phoenicians and like Mongolian, Ottoman Turks, not the Turkish later the Turkish kind, but like not saying that like only the Spaniards contributed to the Mexican DNA because genealogy, because a country doesn't have DNA, you have genealogy, because they came from Roman or something in Michigan and Michoacan, and so how they speak Spanish, like that's like the Romans probably understood something of like they're Italian, and they probably had Hispanic like dialects, and it wasn't sounding like nothing English, and yeah, man, that shit is like we just like don't want to be challenged or something. It's like you're trying to divert, and then like sometimes it's like people will bring up 50 million different things, and like I have you answering a question about 50 different things, like, and then try to tell you what you think. Like they try to tell you what you already say. Like, man, it's like, but it's I don't know, make you feel dirty. Anyways, like sometimes you can't say that this is too much knowledge for your own good because it's a fraction. You're just acknowledging that we just only have like a smidgen of information, a speck of it, like so from there you just make up white dog man stories about like the Eskimo lady like training her dragon, like training. And so there's Prince Edward or somebody, like what's the one right now, they all believe that they descended from a dragon. Like what's his name is actually Romanian. The King of England today is descended from a Romanian that his cult or whatever believes that they descended from a dragon. So their influence on Canada and coming over here is just like that shit is fucking Hindu. Like that's Judaic. Get that out of here. See that interpretation because it's they're like bringing shit back like it's the first time and shit. By that you just lose all like interest in our real history because you're like, whoa, we never seen that before. This was the first time that. This is the first time that. This is like cycles and shit. More like waves of different people coming to the Americas.